Hi everyone, I'm going to be doing my project as Patrick Nagel. So his artwork was very prominent in the 1970s to 1980s. So for the piece shown here, this is probably his most famous piece. The piece was on the Rio CD album by Duran Duran. That song is very popular now and then, and the piece has probably been seen by pretty much everyone. And it also shows how his art is Art Deco. So his artwork was acrylic paintings, and they were mostly on canvas or paper. And they would later on, after they were finished, it'd be printed on using silk screens. And they also made lithographs, and each lithograph by him were mostly signed by him as well. And later on in his life, they would globally and mass produce posters, which are pretty easy to find nowadays. I have some of the lithographs, and they're really cool. He was very contrast heavy, so he really wanted the woman to stand out with the bright white colors, and the bright colors with the background being very basic. And the women would usually be bright white, and they'd have bright red lips, which you can see in the piece on the page that they had very white skin with the red lips. And in the backgrounds, they're usually a black or a white color, which you can see how the female is white and the background is a gray color. And he also used a lot of shapes, like in her earring, she has like a triangle shape. And it has like a lot of bright colors, which the females always have bright colors, and the background's really basic. So Nagel was inspired by Japanese art. When he went to Vietnam, he saw a lot of Asian artwork, and he thought that the artwork was really inspiring to him. And he saw Japanese artwork, especially with how most of their artwork has a lot of the females were usually in white skin and a lot of monotone colors, and he really wanted to use that. And another thing was just women in general. He loved women his whole life, and he would do all his artwork mostly on women, a couple men, but they were mostly all women. And he was also very inspired by shapes, which you can see in his artwork. A lot of jewelry and clothing was in the shapes, and the contrast kind of builds on the Japanese art. But a lot of his artwork really wanted to make the female the prominent piece. He was also very inspired by celebrities and famous people, which you can see here we have Joan Collins with her own piece that Nagel did for her of her, and it's really cool. And we have Jenna Kyo, who is also a Orange County housewife, and that's her modeling for that piece of work. He also did a lot of models as well. So he's most famous for was the Nega Woman, which you can see almost all his artwork was females, and they were mostly white skin, red lips, black hair, and usually were in some sexy pose, which you can see here. Some of them are naked, and they always were looking at you. They always had very striking eyes. One of his, probably besides the Rio album, and he was in the Playboy magazines. He would be in either the Playboy Advisor, Playboy Forum, or the Playboy After Hours, and he had a new female for each magazine. And he did around 300 pieces between 75 and 84, and these pieces are mostly known by people who read the Playboy magazines in the 1980s and became very prominent for him. The Rio album, which I said before, is probably one of his landmark pieces. It made him very popular. So for his impact, his art style became very popularized and became very copied in the 1980s to 1990s, which you can see they were at nail salons, facials, or with the hair salons and nail salons. And a lot of people didn't actually know about Nagel, but they knew about this artwork. So nowadays, his current impact, He is very popular with the 1980s boom, which a lot of people have been liking the more vintage look, and it has created a sort of phenomenon with people and people who just love his work. So he's done various collaborations with, such as Urban Decay, which is the makeup, Forever 21. They did a whole line of clothes. He did Gudetama, which is a Japanese character, and he did a whole line of clothes. And then Lutska, they did, I think this is a skateboard brand, and he did so many more, and he's become very popular among younger people. Yeah. That was Patrick Nagel, and I hope you guys liked my presentation.